When I got in there, I was on this movie side. I said the setup is done very well here. Creatures kept mysterious enough that they were scared of me. Enough that I didn't ask any questions at all. I said, you know what, they doing good enough. They'll explain everything. Y'all got this. I ain't worried about nothing. Boy, they said, we ain't explaining a goddamn thing. We don't owe you no explanation. Who the hell you think you are? We don't have to tell you nothing. And you know what, and I would say this, man, you know, and when they did actually explain things, it made it worse.
I know.
You should have shut your mouth.
I know.
I'll be back to doing my comedy show in New York. And you can get your tickets now for that. People, you know that I've been going to New York and doing a comedy show there, and it's been going very well. The venue has been asking us to come back and just pretty much gave us a regular thing now. So I'll be there on June 21st, back at the Broadway Comedy Club and back in the Red Room, 9:30 show this time. Get your tickets now. These shows have been selling out every time we do them. And you can get your tickets by going over to BroadwayComedyClub.com, or you can go to Double Toasted NY and get your tickets now. Oh, Martin had a twist the other day, boy. Martin was watching this movie, The Watchers, and he thought he was watching a Shyamalan movie, but it was not that Shyamalan that did it, boy. It was Shyamalan Jr. up in here. Martin said, what?
Yeah, when they announced it, I was like, how did they mispronounce his name?
Yeah.
And they misspelled it?
Yeah, Ashana Night Shyamalan. That is the daughter of M. Night Shyamalan, and she turns out to be just as spooky as her dad. But she has followed in her father's footsteps at the tender age of 23, and now she's making movies on her own. And again, she wants to make these atmospheric, spooky movies just like old Father Shyamalan over there.
Just like
him. Uh-huh. So what do we have here? Her debut movie, her debut feature motion picture is this movie, The Watchers. And with this movie, we have here a very forlorn Dakota Fanning as Mina. Oh, and Mina's so sad. Mina don't like, she's like, boy, I thought I would have been doing better in my life. You know, I'm an artist, but now I'm living old cloudy ass. Is it Ireland? She's over in Ireland.
Yeah.
She's over in old cloudy ass Ireland, working an old sorry ass pet store. They don't sell nothing but lizards and birds.
Yeah, I just like, how can you afford to live there just working at a pet store?
Yeah, ain't nothing but lizards and birds in that bitch. But the thing is, they do delivery. Somebody's.
That's the new model.
They're like the DoorDash or Uber Eats of birds and lizards.
In the post-COVID world.
Yeah. You want a bird or a lizard delivery, call this store in Ireland. They'll get it right to you. That is if you don't turn off the road and get caught by a bunch of mysterious creatures who like to watch you and jerk off or something. I don't know what they're doing. So that's what happens with her. She is told, I'm not lying, she's told to deliver this little smart-ass bird. And as she's driving through the countryside, somehow, somewhere, some way, she takes a wrong turn. The radio starts getting all mysterious and everything. But she makes the mistake of venturing out into the woods. You know, listen, M. Night Shyamalan movie. You don't ever do that shit.
No. You know what? In life, you don't never do that.
No. I hope my company forgives me for this, but every race has their stereotypes. This is the white people stereotype. And spooky ass movies going off and doing some dumb shit. Took that bird, started walking out the woods, and immediately got lost. Damn, so it's dark out here.
In the woods at night. Let me just start walking.
But it was funny because it was kind of like the moment she stepped 2 feet out the car, sun went whoop. So she's out in the woods, lost, and she starts walking around. Now, fortunately, or maybe unfortunately, she meets a group of friends who somehow are actually spookier than what we saw before. But hey, compared to what's out there, some strange creatures are trying to kill them, and only these people really know what's going on, and even they don't completely understand the mystery behind these monsters, these creatures that are watching them inside this little home, this little housing, this little prison, if you will.
A little tiny house.
A little tiny house that has a one-way mirror. And every night they have to stand in front of that mirror and hope that these creatures settle the hell down before they bust through the room and try to kill them. As some of the better M. Night Shyamalan movies that are out there, and most of all the M. Night Shyamalan movies out there. Great mysterious setup for the film. Great mysterious premise that's going on. But how does it deliver on explaining all these mysteries that we have here? Let's go ahead and take a look at this trailer for The Watchers, and we'll be back with our reviews.
I'm going out tonight. Try not to die.
You try not to die.
Love that bird.
Bird was talking the whole shit the whole time. And the funny thing about it, so they told her, because she said, this bird talking, and that dude was like, nah, y'all be all right. And the whole time the bird was talking shit.
Try not to die.
Yeah. Turn left, bitch.
Oh, he talks shit. Sorry, you didn't specify.
I thought you couldn't talk. What is happening?
From producer, just put from my daddy.
Yeah, right. Come on. Produced by nepotism.
Yeah. From producer. Y'all got the same last. Bullshit.
What is this place?
I don't mean to scare you, but we haven't much time. It's not wise to keep them waiting.
They come every night.
And they watch us.
This is the most nonsensical goddamn movie I've seen in a long time, boy. Don't you tell me that nepotism don't exist in Hollywood, because I'll tell you what, if this wasn't for Daddy Shyamalan right here, if this was just old regular Joe or Joanna Schmo out there, execs would have looked at this and be like, get the out of here. Because this don't even make any sense. And and listen, I usually come in, I'm trying to give some sort of intelligent analysis about things, but ain't nothing intelligent here really after a while. It all falls apart. Martin, actually, when we sat down, you kind of speaking my sentiments, but you said it, man. You said it perfectly.
Yeah, it just felt like it was made up on the spot. Every scene was like, oh, what if we do this? And what if this? And one of the big things that makes it fall apart is you see that with Dakota Fanning, where they're like, come in here and these are the rules. And they don't tell her the rules. Also, when she gets in there, she doesn't ask the question, what is this? Because you know that if this was you go like, what is going on? And you wouldn't stop asking that until somebody gave you an answer.
Yeah, which is too bad, because it starts cool. Now, I got to let you know, I didn't know anything about this movie at all when I walked in. I didn't see any trailers. I didn't even know the movie existed. I don't know what's going on with me. I don't know if I need to get out more, but there's been a lot of movies lately where I'm like, that's a movie? Like a few days before it's out. This is one of those movies. I did not know this movie existed until about a week and a half, and they said, you got a screening for it. And even then, I hadn't seen trailers. So I'm going to say this. I think Ishana Shyamalan shows a lot of promise here. I think she creates good atmosphere, and I think she creates good tension. And these are skills that I'm pretty sure she picked up from her dad, man.
You say picked up. I say had her hand held through the entire process.
Yeah, but you got to learn somewhere. And if this was, if this is a movie that I really enjoyed, I would have been willing to give her credit for that. Hey, you know what? Your dad was guiding you, but I'm sure you're going to come into your own, and you're going to you have a very promising career ahead of you. But at the same time as picking up some of her father's strengths, she picked up some of his faults too. And one of those faults, and I've said this in several M. Night Shyamalan movies, let your characters emote, please. Every movie, they just stand up there, just characters are looking confused, looking lost, looking high sometimes.
Yeah.
This has been, for me, a problem with a lot of M. Night Shyamalan movies, even some that I've liked. When we first saw this in a couple of movies, it was, the movies were so good, and plus we were just 2 movies in or so that we were like, okay, nobody's really paying attention, or nobody's picking it apart. Now that it's become a pattern, one of the things I think is a weakness with M. Night Shyamalan, with his stories and his scripts, is that, and his direction. For him, creating mood and tension is moving a story as slow as it can. I'm talking about he chops and screws these movies sometimes. And while characters just stand around just looking confused and are high or don't know what the hell is going on. And it's like a lot of these, and the only ones that do it are the crazy ones.
Yeah.
There's
true.
always one crazy person in these movies, and they're the ones to always show some kind of emotion because they're their mind,
And the character development is just like random exposition, like vomit. It's like, my dad's an alcoholic. I love to dance. It's like, Okay.
Yeah,
And
Yeah. How does that play into the situation?
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of times also these to contribute to that, these characters always have some kind of some troubled past. Something that they always carry a lot of guilt with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, shit, even the most depressed person just, laughs at least,
Right.
every now and then, or shows some sign of something. I mean, and see, this is a problem with this, because the reason because you already said it. When this character Mina gets stuck with all these people right here, she's almost immediately cool with it.
Yeah.
Not one. What the? No. I mean, if we had been in this situation, I would have been like, you better tell me what the happening here.
Corey, it's not just we. Anybody.
Yes.
Anybody in this situation would say, hey, you got to tell me what's going on. And if everybody just stood around, barely saying anything with the hollowed out eyes, you're like, if I don't hear something, I'm going to leave.
Yes.
Oh, that's breaking the rules. Okay, what are these rules? What is this? We never seen the creatures, but they don't like that. The fuck? Okay.
How did these creatures that are out in the woods, how did they tell you the rules?
Yeah.
Unless you understand. I don't understand. They leave your book? Was there a manual? Was there a creature manual somewhere that they don't? Yeah. How do you know these rules? Or did you just make this shit up? And on top of that, when she gets there, it's not only that she's not scared or shocked or anything. I mean, she falls into roommate mode immediately.
Yeah.
She goes there and starts chilling on the couch. They, watching DVDs. They start doing chores. She's hardly asking any questions. They sit down. And have dinner like it's family time, and like they've been together the whole time. Like nothing ain't happening. She's not at the dinner table. Like the is going on? Y'all eating?
Yeah.
And y'all cool with this?
she just accepted her fate and never
Immediately.
Yeah, and there's certain things that happen in the movie. It's like, oh, now you figured that out? You've been in this room and now you started looking around?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Oh, also her, like, how long you guys been here? I don't know. I think 5 months. 5 months?
Living off crow?
You don't have food. You don't look disheveled. Your clothes are washed. You have haircuts.
People, let me tell you something. This is some Gilligan's Island shit. Okay? On Gilligan's Island where they went on okay, so the kids out there, you're not gonna know, but let me just explain this to you. I hate to break up an old reference y'all might understand, but this is the only way I can think of it. They got to show Gilligan's Island. Even the theme song says these people, they went out for a 3-hour tour. They get stranded on this island. Those fools got luggage for months.
That's true.
They brought changes of clothes for months. Like they weren't taking a 3-hour tour. They were moving to Europe for 9 years. You know what I'm saying? And that's what happens here. Like these fools were out backpacking. They were out there going on a hikes.
Yeah.
A hike, and they got changes of clothes.
Yeah.
My man brought his clippers with him because he's fresh every day. Like his haircut is there.
He's fresh somehow. They're washing those clothes. We don't see beds.
We don't see
a kitchen.
We don't see no buckets with piss and shit in them.
Right.
It's like, how y'all they capture crows? How y'all cooking that shit? But they never show a hot plate. But they sitting down like they had a damn Thanksgiving dinner every night. Listen, it's just when they're not explaining things that should be obvious. I mean, you can't help but ask questions.
Yeah.
And I can see how she came to this idea. Like, on the surface, I really like this concept. I mean, it's very film schooly, but the idea of like the watchers, because this will be watched by an audience. It's very metatextual like that.
I can see that.
And I can appreciate that. And I even think that some of the production value in this movie is nice. But beyond that, this idea, like you said, it does feel like they're making it up. And when the movie ends, it keeps going. Like there's an epilogue and a sequel that just all plays out. I was like,
as if it were a pilot for a TV series. The thing is, this is based on a novel.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's an adaptation of a novel. But what this feels like is that the first 2/3 of it, well, like the last third feels like, okay, this is what is in the novel, because then you finally get an explanation what it is. And it's not developed, and it cuts off way too soon as if to be continued. And it's like, this is way too late to bring all this stuff, this actual stuff in. But the first 2/3, it's just an M. Night Shyamalan ripoff. It's like we got this from the novel, But we'll put that aside, and the first 2/3 is going to be atmosphere. And it's writing from the book of they knock at the cabin door. Because everything you like about this, well, that was already seen in Knock at the Cabin Door. The cinematography, the way it's set up, the mood, the subdued palette, but also the outlandish premise that moves slowly to build tension rather than explanations. It's like, hey, we got you in a situation. Isn't this weird? Don't you feel? It's like, yeah, I know you're pulling the strings on the cellos and all, and people aren't saying anything, and you're trying to build mood, but it's artificial, and you see right through it. It's like, this is just more frustrating than anything else.
Yeah, you got to. One of the things I think is missing. You have to build character over mood, because I mean, you still have to have something to relate to. And I don't think any of these characters are relatable.
Oh, they suck.
Yeah,
They're all bad.
Yeah. The moment we meet them, like we were talking about the rules. The moment we meet them and they start talking about the rules and everything, these characters seem very standoffish. There's just nothing. There's no warmth there. There's nothing. It's not any comedy relief. There's nothing there that give these people any kind of personality that makes us root for any of them.
Mina, we should know. Do not turn your back to the mirror. Do not open the door after dark. Do not go near the burrows.
You know what? I'm gonna take my chance.
Yeah,
because y'all looking crazy
I'm
right
going
now.
back to the truck.
Yeah. You know what? I don't, because it look like y'all gonna eat me in the middle of the night or something. You know what I'm saying? This is,
Yeah.
And by the way, these people are not under a spell.
No.
They're not. They don't have to behave like this. It's not natural for people who are trapped together and you meet another person you want to help, and all of a sudden everybody start ganging up on their ass talking about, don't do this shit now.
Yes.
Don't do that.
We are the cult of the house.
Yeah.
And they never
get the away from you.
And they never do the obvious where there's one guy in a room with 3 women. He's not trying to hook up with any of them.
No, he was.
Yeah.
Oh,
He was trying to hook up with one of them.
Oh,
Yeah,
it was poorly done to me. I mean, I kind of see what you're saying, but like it felt very half-assed.
Well, I mean, as far as poorly done stuff, that's one of them. The girl, the whole thing with her husband who's not there, the way they talk, you don't get a sense of what's really going on. Another thing that's poorly done is with Dakota Fanning's character. Early on, it shows her going out wearing different, wigs and stuff, as if, it plays into what this comes out to be, except it doesn't. I was like, all right, I could see a parallel that you're going to make here, and they never do.
Again, this is to show the guilt that she has for something, or to show, well, this is why she acts with no emotion.
Yeah, but like, a bit of a chameleon herself.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Listen, being that I didn't see any trailers or anything, when I got in there, I was on this movie side. I said the setup is done very well here. Creatures kept mysterious enough that they were scared of me. Enough that I didn't ask any questions at all. I said, you know what, they doing good enough. They'll explain everything. Y'all got this. I ain't worried about nothing. Boy, they said we ain't explaining a goddamn thing. We don't owe you no explanation. Who the hell you think you are? We don't have to tell you nothing. And you know what? And I would say this, man. And when they did actually explain things, it made it worse.
I know.
You should have shut your mouth.
I know. It's one where, man, they're just not explaining anything. And you're like, all right, here you go. This is what this is. You're like, ew.
Yeah, they explore like different genres. I think that's it. It's trying to have be horror and suspense and also a fantasy. And when that comes in, it's like, all right, where are you going with this? Nowhere. Under a rock, actually.
Yeah.
In a hole.
Like the prison, the so-called prison, or the compound that they're in.
The coop.
The coop. There you go. That's what they call it, the coop. The prison doesn't make any sense. Who, really, when you understand, when they reveal what's going on, who built this?
Right?
Let me tell y'all something. This ain't no little storage room they got in the woods. This so-called haunted woods that are filled with creatures that will kill you if you go out there. You have to have a crew. You got to have HVAC and electrical, and sewage and all that kind of stuff out there, man.
Yeah, because I think they explained about the crew, but it doesn't explain, how they got electrical and sewage out there. I mean, I get it. It's like a bomb shelter, sort of. But
they got Google Fiber out there, everything, man.
They said that they didn't have internet anymore, but they kind of, I don't know if this is a spoiler, but they kind of said that it was funded by a university. They explained it very poorly, but that's what I got from it.
Okay. All right. No, I'll take that.
I got that. But it is like, how do you run lines out there?
I just,
'Cause she was deep in those woods.
As I said, even if the university funded, the university had to pay a crew to go off in some haunted ass woods.
with creatures that would kill them every time they went out there.
Unless the creatures just waited. Maybe the creatures paid for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, oh, they're setting up a movie theater.
Yeah.
This would be good for tourism. We'll change this place.
We need some entertainment out in this bitch. Come on.
Oh, wait, you're only building that one?
The creatures, they act feral and wild at one moment, and then another moment, I don't want to spoil anything here, another moment they're intelligent. And it doesn't even make sense why they're really watching. They tried as an explanation, but it don't make sense to me.
It doesn't make sense
at all. And then they have a weakness that I don't really understand. It's almost like the aliens from her daddy's movie Signs, where they are weak to water. It's like, then why are they coming to a planet full of water right here? At least there was an explanation here. Did they really explain the weakness?
I didn't pick up
I
on
didn't
that
hear
at
it
all.
either.
I mean,
listen, the explanation was it was.
Okay.
like,
All right.
like I said, as things pop up as needed or as thought of, it was like, oh, well, we need some reason why they can't. Okay, this is why.
like the only thing they explain is like they have a poor sense of smell. That's pretty much it.
People talking about spoil it. I'll spoil it for y'all in a little bit. Just here's out right here though. And like they said, they brought these humans here to study, but to study them, it doesn't make sense what they're studying or why. And even when they explain it, it's like there's a much easier way to do this.
Well, plus they say, okay, when the creatures come out at night, you have to stand perfectly still and just not move and look into the one-way mirror. So I'm like, so what are they studying then?
Yeah, I would say that's the most boring ass TV show I've ever seen.
Faces, everyone?
I don't understand. Is someone coming here?
We call them the Watchers.
What is that? What are they doing?
Ah, got you, bitch. Just playing.
I know you're feeling very scared. No, I'm more confused, to be honest.
And to be honest with you, listen, they might have been changing clothes. I mean, they might have been keeping the same clothes. That's me just being an asshole right now. But there were other things that they didn't explain. Like I don't know how they made fires. They probably made one in the woods.
No,
or something.
they showed them making a fire in the woods.
Yeah,
but 5 months.
Yeah,
you can't do that for 5 months.
Listen, I will give them the fire to cook the crow. I will give them the wearing the same clothes. Even though them clothes must be funky as hell right now. I mean, I'm talking about shit stains on their pants and all kind of stuff. They ain't got no water.
Right.
Because that's the thing with this. The inconsistent thing was they showed you they had no water. The water that they could get to was off limits. They couldn't get to it in time. So I don't know how they washing their funky asses and washing their hair. Like I said, my man's hair stayed the same. He never had to shave. Those are the things that confuse me. I'll get the clothes in the fire, but all that other stuff is kind of weird.
Yeah, they looked way too clean the whole time. I was thinking about it. And they try to at a certain point shows them showering and a relief, but it's like, you didn't earn that. Like, where the did all that dirt come from?
Yeah, exactly. But listen, if I was patient with anything, if I imagine if anybody was patient with anything, that patience was tried when you got to the very end of this movie. At the end of this movie, and I'll spoil it for y'all in a little bit. We'll just give a rating first and just tell you kind of, in a loose way what the ending happened, what happened at the ending. You know what? Let me just say this, because if we get into it, we're gonna be spoiling some stuff. Let me just say this: the ending is probably the worst thing about the movie, and it will take you over because it's the last thing you see. I'll say this: I want to be nice about this, and this is her first film. I want to see how Shyamalan does with the better script. But this script is so full of surprise. I mean, not surprise, but the surprise is just like how things don't make any sense. This script is so full of questions, so full of plot holes, and really doesn't bother to explain anything, all in the name of creating tension. And by the time we get to the end of it, when it gets to how silly things become, it's one thing to just kind of gloss over things and maybe fill in those plot holes yourself. But when it gets ridiculous at the end, that's what pushed me over. And it leads me to just giving this, a very nice, kind, very high, some old bullshit. You got potential here.
There's so much that keeps this from being the moody, scary thing that they or she wants it to be. It feels too familiar, but not in a good way. There's so many questions that you get not answering questions to keep you guessing, but there's a point when there's like, you got to give me something, or the character has to ask for something. It just doesn't feel natural. But another thing that kept this from being scary, I thought, was that the creatures, when they show them, they're all CG and they look like shit. There was nothing convincing about them. And then I thought too, the first movie, I mean, it looks like her dad is like really shooting everything and just putting her name on it for the most part. But okay, you could be nice, low rental, lowest of rentals. But the ending is just ridiculous. It really pushes. It's completely amateurish. Like all of that at the end is like, this is your actual story, what seemed to be from whatever novel or folklore, and you just kind of tacked it on as some way to end it, where it's like, man, now you're telling all this stuff and there's no development here, so there's no emotional attachment to any of it. And much like yourself, I came at a friendly some old bullshit.
Well, I guess I'm a little bit nicer than you guys, but I think that this movie is a huge disappointment because I like the concept. I think that there's something there. I think there's some really good ideas. And I think that the production value is really cool to look at. But I got to say that all these actors were overshadowed by that bird, man. That bird gives the best performance in this movie, and that's embarrassing. I think that this movie, the more it goes on, it becomes beyond laughable. It's a what I like to call a smelly rental. This shit is laughable, man.
Smelly rental.
Yeah, because you open the case, it's like, oh, it's bullshit. But I think that the more it went on, like, it caught me off guard how much it was making me laugh.
Yeah, but listen, okay, so if y'all are still interested, and I'm not spoiling anything for you here.
I mean, it sounds kind of interesting.
Okay.
I'll check it out.
All right,
It
all
sounds
right.
like exactly like M. Night Shyamalan movies.
Yes, you were right.
Exactly to a T. He's a bat in like 50-50 for me. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's fantastic. Sometimes it's what the is going on?
Yeah, Yuri said, and I'm with you 100%, man. You said it perfectly, 50-50, because sometimes it could be, the payoff can be very good. And sometimes, a lot of times, like, okay, you're just doing a twist just to twist thing. Whether it makes any sense or not.
Well, even with one of his best movies, The Sixth Sense, I remember being put off by it just because it gets by on a whole lot that it doesn't tell you. And also, there's points where characters should have conversations they don't. And I get the like, okay, he's a ghost. And he said, me and my wife never talk. I was like, but y'all seriously never talk. You went to dinner and like, this doesn't even make sense to me. I was just so like, what is going on here?
Well, when they went to dinner, that wasn't real. He was a ghost at that point.
No, I know. No, I know he was a ghost.
Yeah.
But they're playing to the audience like, oh, we just never talk.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
That's not just you never talk.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. I still think that Sixth Sense is an excellent movie, but I get it. Like, it can have diminishing returns upon like repeat viewing.
It's got trickery going on.
Yeah. So speaking of trickery, this movie tricked me into thinking that it was going to actually, make some kind of sense at the end. They said, no. As crazy as this movie is, I said, all right, you know what? I'm just going with it. This don't even make no sense. This is out there. This is wild, but at least you'll make it sense in your own crazy ass way. No, they lost their mind at the end. There's a difference between being wild and crazy and then reaching the ass and smearing shit on the wall.
I mean, that's usually the way that ends.
This movie lost his mind, man. I mean, you talking about not explaining nothing. Let me tell you what happened. So, are y'all ready? So these creatures, these creatures that these mysterious creatures that we have here. Let me see. So they are they do a whole history dump right here. When they say, okay, these creatures in the woods, they are the offspring of elves.
No, fairies.
Fairies. I'm sorry, fairies. They're offspring of fairies that used to live with humans, and they bred with humans, and they made these old crazy ass creatures after this.
Shapeshifters.
And they're shapeshifters now.
Changelings.
Yeah, and that's why we have to stand in front of them, because they want to study us, because they're trying to perfect the shapeshifting art or craft or skills or ability or whatever. But see, that's weird because the history shows them to be intelligent, and sometimes in the movie they are intelligent, especially at the end. But throughout the movie, to make them scary in the woods, they got to sound like damn, monsters and feral animals, doing all that crazy shit. So when they get to the end, one fairy escaped. She had this whole, there's a professor here, and maybe y'all can help me with this. You saw it in the trailer. There's a professor here who, he's the sole reason why we got this, there he is. This is his shit. He's the only one in this compound out here. He had this whole thing built for him so he could study these fairies. He caught one because he wanted to make bring his dead wife back. And since they can shapeshift, he decided to do some freaky shit.
Yeah.
Have sex with a fairy that looked like his wife.
Yeah. I was like, this is like Splice, where the scientist is having sex with his experimental subject.
You see how crazy this shit is now? My man caught a fairy so he could and make it look like his wife. So turns out that fairy he caught, she's like, I was the wrong one to fuck with. So he has this fairy, I guess they are gender neutral or whatever. They can bend to any gender. Fairy ends up killing him and escaping. And decides I'm gonna kind of live this life like the humans, but I gotta like still kill people or something like that in order to keep my abilities going with it.
Okay, because you can say that she's the old woman who's been tricking them the whole time so she could study human behavior.
Yeah, wasn't she with them the whole time in the coop?
Yeah, she was with them the whole time. And
Turn the TV on.
yeah. Wow. Just turn the TV on. Yeah. Yeah, man, where were you when they were writing this?
Yeah, the twist is that woman, she's an elf. I mean, a fairy that's been living with them.
So, and she's I guess she's a half-breed because she's a day walker. The others can't leave. They can't cross the pond.
They're like vampires. They can't get in the daylight.
Yeah, they can't get in the daylight. They can't go across the water, but she can. So it's all about her getting them to get her in a boat and get her to civilization.
Why couldn't she go to the boat herself?
She didn't make.
Yeah, because she had wings at the end, right?
Well, hold on, before we say anything.
Yeah, that's She knew where the boat was. I don't know why she needed them.
There's a boat that they needed to go over. She could have done this. She didn't need them.
No.
Unless she just needed directions back to the homeland or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, she had to dupe them to get in the boat. We don't know the. Anyway, she got back. She living her life. She'd start shapeshifting like one of these characters here, driving a nice car, took over somebody's nice house. And I think when she got discovered, because Dakota Fanning was the one that figured her out. She's like, bitch, I got you. I know what you're doing. And so she's like, so she's like, all right, you know my secret. I got to kill. I got to kill you and anybody else around there. But she's like, now hold on. Wait a minute. Before you kill me, ask yourself, and really just to think about this. Do you really have to do this? I mean, you lived in that little house with us. I mean, we were all cool back there eating crow and shitting in a bucket and, going out and, we had some adventures. Now, isn't that worth something? And that woman was the fairy. She's like, God damn, your knowledge is too deep.
This science is too tight.
Yeah. I didn't see it that way. Shit. And she's like, well, shit, baby, you're right. And then, boy, she blew that fairy's mind so hard that out of nowhere, that fairy just grew wings and burst of light and said, you know what? It then just ran, jumped out the window and crashed through the window and flew away. Now, I want y'all to think about this. Imagine you in a debate with somebody and you won that debate so hard that the other person like, fuck this, and just grew wings out of nowhere and just flew out the room.
Flew through the skylight,
Just short-circuited.
But think of it, this is a debate where that person is about to kill you. Like it's like this. They're already on the downswing, and you say, like, well, hold on a second. What about this? If you kill me, then that makes you no better than the villains that you hate. Yeah, now that you put it that way, what am I doing?
You make too much goddamn sense. So I got to get crazy again. Yeah, it's like, wow, man. Wow. And then it can't even end there. At the end, it's like Dakota Fanning, her character has a twin sister. They were in a car wreck. They tried to make you think she was dead, but she's still alive. She's seen her twin sister. And she's saying, well, I think that what happened? She's still out there watching
me, yeah. She's out there shape-shifting, turning different people, just keeping her eye on Dakota Fanning. Well, like, why?
Yeah, that's right. They throw out that like there was some girl with red hair watching someone.
That was the fairy.
And then that happens at the end. You finally see her.
Yeah, the world's weirdest stalker. Wow, you could shapeshift into anything. You could live your life, and you still got a heart on for this chick right here.
She chooses to be Annie and watch her from a distance.
Yeah. And after they even show her, she's like, yeah, I'm still looking.
The sun will come out tomorrow.
What you say? I'm watching, bitch. She's looking over her shoulders. What the hell is
Why you keep looking back there? Oh, that weird fairy keeps staring at me. Just ignore her. I'm sorry. What were you saying?
Man, really, at the end, I had to contain myself. I was gonna be like, what? What the f has happened?
Yeah, it was like, oh, this is the beginning of a series. I'm like, I don't think so.
No.
There's a lot of that whole what, like when they're escaping, that's what caught me off guard. Like I had to catch myself because I don't want to be obnoxious in the movie, but it made me laugh out loud when they're finally escaping and they get to a boat and then they look over and the one guy has been like used to be shapeshifted and they still don't know the anatomy of humans. So there's a bunch of dickless versions of the guy.
There's a bunch of there's a bunch of Ken dolls over there. A bunch of gray ass Ken dolls.
A bunch of dickless deadites, like with these white eyes.
Well, they've been out there 5 months and they know that those fairies can imitate people, especially the people they love. And yet, is that him? Is that him? Like, no, you know that ain't him. What the
People, there's one reason to watch this shit, and that's because you have to see it to believe it, to see how crazy it is. That's my biggest recommendation for this. I'm not trying to be an asshole or be mean here, but really, some shit you have, please watch this one day. Don't run out and go out your way. Wait for it to come on TV and, do a little something around the house in the boring parts. And boy, when it gets to that end, y'all watch this shit.
That's why I kind of give it like the lowest possible rental because some of it is laughable. Like, when they go down in this hole at one point where the monsters are and there's like a bunch of stuff in there. And the reason I compared them to Debo is because they find a bike in there and then the lady's like, no, you got to put all that stuff back. They drop that bike in there. You see a hand come in, my bike.
Oh, yeah. That's another dumb thing. They explain how dangerous these creatures are. It's like, well, that's all right. I want to see one. Climb down. Wow. Yeah, it's like this is one of those movies you deserve every goddamn thing you get. Anyway, that's that. Anyway,
to describe the monsters, though, if anyone's curious, I'm curious if you guys saw it similar to I did. I thought that they were kind of like the woman from Wreck at the end of that movie combined with a xenomorph and maybe a little bit of a cicada.
Oh yeah, combined with stupid. No fucking sense. This movie doesn't make no sense.
There was just no imagination put in.
No, it don't make no goddamn sense. Just watch it, y'all. I really, man. I don't care how late this movie. This movie need to be out next week because it came in very low in the box office. So I hope to God y'all again don't pay for it, but when it comes out, I hope y'all watch this shit. And please, when you do, that's what I want you to do.
Remember us.
Email us, kcoolmans@gmail.com. Please email us and tell us what you think about that crazy ass ending. It's just some shit so crazy. I'm like, did you see what I just saw? Well, you made it to the end of the video. That must mean you really like what we do. So if you do, check out these other videos just like this one. Check out our other YouTube channels and subscribe to join our wonderful Toasty community. And as always, stay toasty.